G-thoughtz.
Wherefore art thou? Wherefore art thou?
So I just sent you a quick message. I have an interesting thought experiment. I've got some recordings where I talk about this somewhere buried in my phone or my iPad or something. But regardless of where you are for your thought about abortion, right? I want to take, again, you know how I roll. I want to get people to think, so I'm not going to take a stance. I might admit my stance. I say it's something that men can never do, so it's something they can never fully understand, and therefore should never fully be able to make that decision on behalf of the woman, which is what these laws are doing. But I digress. So let me ask you a question: if you believe, if someone believes that life happens at conception, well, then I guess my first question is, it doesn't matter when you believe that when life happens. It matters technically, and this is an important technicality, when the U.S. government thinks life begins, because the U.S. government cannot tax that life that's inside the woman. They cannot tax or even leave it as tax exempt because it doesn't have a social security number. It's not registered with the government. Therefore, the government does not recognize it as a life. Now, there are some laws that say if the woman was pregnant, there could be higher penalties for that aggressor. But here's the problem with that. That goes against basically how the Constitution works. That baby was not a citizen. It wasn't named, did not have a social security number, was not registered as such. All right, you don't believe that argument? I'll take it a step further with science. If you think that baby is life, okay, that's great. So is the tumor that can grow inside of a woman. That's life too, that acts on its own volition, right? Unless you believe that the tumor is being created by the human body, the human brain. The brain is, in that case, that's the cure for a tumor. You have to change the programming in the brain, and you can reverse the tumor, right? I just created a cure for cancer, essentially, if you believe that. So if you don't believe that the baby can survive outside of the mother up to a certain time frame, let's say the first month, then it's not its own entity. In other words, life is something that's really can support itself to some degree. In other words, its own biological processes should be able to sustain itself. That's life, right? Sarah Murray Walker, this beautiful scientist. So if that's the case, then the baby outside of the mom, within any time of conception, should be able to do that on its own. It can't. Therefore, it's not life. It's more like a tumor, and it's controlled by the mom. So I want to know what you think about that. I just kind of dropped two mic drops there that were like ballistic. They're huge. If you understand what I just said.